Good day and welcome back to another episode of Yuga House. In this episode, we're going to talk about the charming and secluded tiny home in Georgia. This tiny house in Blue Ridge, Georgia might just be the cutest tiny house design you've ever seen. By now, you've probably heard a thing or two about small house living, while this Blue Ridge tiny home is one you will be sure to love. The tiny house design can accommodate up to 2 guests with 1 bedroom, 1 bed, and 1 bathroom. During your tiny house vacation stay, you'll have the entire tiny house to yourself. The charming and secluded tiny house is just minutes from downtown and Lake Blue Ridge. During your stay, you might stroll the unique boutiques and enjoy a glass of locally made craft beer or wine with dinner at one of the amazing locally owned restaurants. The Mini Mountain Blue is an intimate tiny house retreat for 2, complete with a jacuzzi tub and a fireplace tucked away in a beautiful setting. This tiny house vacation rental does not allow pets. This Blue Ridge tiny house might just get you thinking about small house living. The good news is that it's incredibly easy to start the process of buying a tiny house design. There are several reasons you might feel a tiny house is for you. Some of them include guest houses, artist studio, writer's retreat, playhouse, extra room for teenager, accessory dwelling unit, tiny house on wheels for travel, full-time living, and so much more. There are so many awesome tiny house builders out there who are ready and waiting to turn your dream tiny home into a reality. When it comes to small house living, there are a few things you will have to consider. Some of those include zoning, finances, and finding land. Zoning. Zoning is not something that everyone thinks about when they are considering a tiny house design of their own, but is an important part of your tiny house planning. Almost all tiny house designs are not considered legal dwellings, which is one of the biggest disappointments for people thinking about moving into a tiny house. But here's the thing. While most tiny house designs aren't technically legal, they're not technically illegal either. That is, you're not going to get in trouble for living in tiny house design. On the other hand, since your tiny house very likely won't fit within your city local zoning codes, the city could also make you move your house at any moment. Before you lose hope, you'll want to research the zoning laws in the area where you live and see if there are any ways around them. The good news is that with more and more tiny houses becoming available, zoning laws are slowly changing. Finances. Financing a tiny house design isn't always easy, even if you have a good credit. That is because unlike a standard home design, tiny houses aren't always eligible for regular home mortgages. Tiny houses are somewhat new to the market and the demand for them is too small for banks to draw up the evaluation algorithms. Unfortunately, that means that if you have to go to a bank for a tiny house mortgage, you'll almost certainly end up having to take out a personal loan, which typically means worse terms and with that higher interest rates. The good news is that more and more tiny house builders are starting to offer to finance their tiny house designs. Finding land. Finding land is often easier than it might seem. Finding land usually doesn't take too long and you'll often find some good land options. This depends on where you want to park your tiny house on wheels. You'll want to think about a couple of things. For starters, if you are hoping to be off-grid, this will help you, as you won't have to worry about electrical, septic, or water, and you'll have a lot of more options. Second, if you need to have hookups, the land will cost you more. Thank you for watching this video, and please do drop a like because it would really help our channel grow. And also, subscribe to our channel. We'll be featuring different houses every single day, from local homes, to tiny homes, to vacation homes, and to other inspiring home ideas.